Hello, hello, hello. Hi there, my name is Svava Brooks. I'm abuse survivor coach. And if you're watching the replay, thank you so much for stopping by, for tuning in for a little bit for this conversation. I'm looking at two screens right now, Periscope, YouTube, but I love to hang out here Tuesdays and Thursdays with my fellow survivor thrivers as we support one another, each other, to heal and restore and reclaim our bodies, our hearts, and our minds, because I do firmly believe that we come fully equipped with all that we need to heal after abuse and trauma. It's already your biology that brilliantly protected you, took care of you, kept you safe. Hey, Wanda, is also the part of work some of the tools that we are going to work with to restore, understand how our biology, our bodies, our mind, and our spirits are taking care of us, protecting us. So if you're here, thank you, thank you, thank you. Hey, friends, how are you doing? And if you're again watching on Periscope, you can see my laptop is in here in the video, trying to situate everything so I can see everybody. But if you're on Periscope, thank you so much. If you want to join the live chat, please come on over to YouTube. You can Google my name or the name of the book and you will find us. I'd love to have you join the conversation. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Hey friends, Wanda, Sharon, Sue, how are you guys? How are we doing today? Long time no see, my friend Sue. Just saw you a few hours ago. Good to be here with you guys. So what's new and good today? What's new and good? I was talking to a couple of people recently about gratitude. Yes, Sue, it is hot over in UK, right? And you guys don't have AC, right? We do have AC here, and I just came from Portland, Oregon yesterday, and thank goodness we have AC in the desert, air conditioner. I hope as the sun has set for you, Sue, I hope that it is getting cooler for you. I hope that you are feeling cooler. Go get some ice, put some ice, wrap it in a towel, put it over your shoulders or on your back. I will often take ice cubes and put them here on my wrist or back here. It helps to cool the system. Oh my goodness, it's 90 in your bedroom. I'm sorry, friend. That's brutal. That is brutal. So, well, I'm sending you some cool air. Doing my part, my friend. Yes, Wanda, right? That's hot. And hey, Wanda, you're traveling right now. Where are you? When are you? Aren't you meeting up with Donna soon? You're wilting a bit. Keep drinking water. Keep drinking. Keep hydrating. So important. So important. And I'm glad you're here, Sharon. Glad you're here. Good to see you. So let me set up our topic of discussion today. Hey, Denise. Glad you're here. Glad you're here. So one of the worst parts about abuse is the emotional damage done when we are asked, often at a very young age, to carry a secret that is so heavy in shame, pain, confusion, and guilt, right? That we simply don't have the wisdom or life experience to deal with it. We carry it with us for years, convinced that we have to keep it upon our shoulders. But this heavy burden never belonged to you, right? It wasn't your fault, wasn't your secret, wasn't your shame, wasn't your guilt, wasn't your burden, right? It was handed to you by someone who had no right to ask you to carry it, because it was their burden to bear, their shame and guilt to deal with, not yours. It was never your fault and will never be your fault. There's nothing you did that earned you or made you, right, deserve that abuse. You did nothing wrong to deserve it. So slowly but surely, right, part of the healing journey is to remove these burdens. That's part of the peeling back the layers of the onion, right, is to understand how we've taken on some of those beliefs that part of our identities or part of who we think we are is somehow wrapped up in, right, carrying and protecting the secret. Give it back, give it back, give it back. So how do we stop carrying the burden of other people's secret and shame, right? There is no shame in being a victim of abuse. No, right? I know there is like cultural stigma around that, but things are getting better. Things are getting better. And what happened again wasn't your fault. The shame we carry isn't our own. It's often the shame that we picked up from the people around us. So the two questions we're going to talk about today, and if you're just joining us here, please chime in, let us know your thoughts, your comments. So today, what is the secret you've been carrying and that you recognize this is something, a belief or a secret or a hurt, and this, I feel guilty about this, I feel very depressed when I think about this, I struggle with this, right? And how do you feel in your mind and your body when you realize that this secret and its shame belongs to your abuser, the person that hurt you, not you, not you. And, this was hard for me to separate for a while because shame is such a powerful emotion, right? It completely takes over. And when you feel shame, right, it's like it totally invites us to isolate, to withdraw, to disconnect. Shame makes you think and feel like you cannot speak about this, right? This is unspeakable. People will reject you or turn away from you. They don't want to hear this. Yeah, I do remember. But hey, Angel, there she is. Hey, Elizabeth. That was so sweet. I found you. So welcome, welcome, welcome. So what I was saying, yes, we're going to talk a little bit about shame today and the burdens that, often we have taken on because we didn't know better. We didn't know better, right? And I have told you guys, and I know I'll be saying it again, but for a long time, because I had minimized so much of the abuse that I went through that I really had to kind of pull out, and I know a few of might have had this experience when you finally tell someone what happened to you and you're like, it wasn't so bad. Yeah, this happened and that happened. And then you look at the person that's listening to you and you see their response. right? That you see how they're reacting to your story. And then you're like, oh, wait a minute. They are shocked. They are, right? So that helps us to, okay, so maybe this wasn't okay. Maybe there is something here. Maybe I should talk about it. And again, that's why our groups are so powerful, because then when we hear other people share their stories, and we can feel the weight and the burden of, oof, that's a lot to put on a child, right? That must have hurt. That is really hard. That is really devastating. We can feel that way for others, but sometimes we forget that, we've minimized, exactly, didn't recognize it as abuse, exactly, Sue. So what I did to help my minimizing trauma brain, I kept reminding myself that when children are given responsibility without any authority, that's abuse. That's awesome, Angel. I am very happy to hear that for you. That's awesome. Thank you, Wanda. You're helping Elizabeth. And like I mentioned, Elizabeth, if you send me an email, I'm happy to send you some information. So again, what does that mean for me, right? Because so many of us grew up really fast. Yeah, I became very mature very early. And so again, I was being exposed to a lot of adult things way too early. And that, right, is abusive, right? It takes away kind of our innocence, right? To be exposed to things, knowledge, information that we have no power or control over, nor do we understand the impact on our thoughts and feelings about having this information, about having this exposure, this experience. Exactly, Angel, right? Did a lot of adult things at a young age. And yes, for so many of us who have been sexually abused, that does terrible damage. It's like that gets hardwired into our nervous system, right? Our bodies respond because, bodies like to be touched, right? We like touch. And then we end up feeling, crippled by shame or guilt because, my body enjoyed some of the touching, right? Was it right? Or, absolutely not. But I wasn't able to separate those things in my mind or in my body as a little girl. And then as I grew older, I hated myself for feeling that way. I hated myself that, I hated my body for responding that way. So it's very, very challenging, again, right? When we have been given information and then with no outlet, language, support to talk about it. And like I often say, right, it isn't just the abuse, but the fact that we have no one to talk to. We have no one to like, hey, this is what's going on. What does this mean? What am I supposed to do with this? This is how it makes me feel, right? I hear you, Wanda. Wanda says here, that's my battle now with my body. I hear you. I hear you. And that's such a big piece of it, right? Is to how can we accept our bodies? How can we be kind to our bodies? How can we even, right, comfort this body that we've maybe disconnected from for a long time, right? Because this is not okay. I don't want to go. I don't want to feel this. I hate how my body responds. I hate the thoughts and the feelings that come up in my body. So much about our bodies isn't safe. So be gentle with yourselves, my friend. And if this is triggering in any way, please be gentle with yourself. Do your best to stay grounded. right? Right now, I'm running my hands down my arms. Your body understands the language of touch and warmth. Now I'm supporting my body by being present for it and like, it's okay, I'm here. It's okay, I am here. Or hand on your heart. Yes. Right? I have learned, Elizabeth, right? She says, I like it when Svava hugs herself. Yes, it is my job to learn to hug me too. And then this is little Svava. Some of you may cringe right now, but this is my little girl, my inner child. And I hug her too. Hey, baby girl, it's okay. I got this. So, if you guys have any comments or questions on this, please go ahead and share. And I'm scrolling down here. We have our closed Facebook group where I post the page of the day and people will share their comments. Angel, you are welcome, of course. Welcome, of course. Hurt is hurt. So you're absolutely welcome. No, that's the same ribbon. Yes, right? Abuse is abuse. Hurt is hurt. Yep. Well, thanks for asking, but no, you're welcome. You are welcome. Sharon says, this medication's kicking my butt. You're an emotional wreck. Aww. Well, my friend Sharon, honor your tears. Honor your tears. Your tears are precious. They are. Yes, exactly. So hang in there. I know being on an emotional roller coaster ride isn't always fun or pretty, but be gentle with yourself. It's good to let the feelings out. It's good to release some tears. Crying is a huge stress relief. Yes, that's right, Wanda. She says tears are a release. Oh, Angel says, I probably cried every day forever. I'm an overcrier. Well, I don't think we can overcry, Angel. I say most of us have a lot of reasons to shed some tears, right? So I believe that we will continue to release until we're done. And then there will things happen in our lives that may give us an opportunity, right, to shed some tears. That I welcome tears, I honor tears. So honor your tears, Angel. They're your truth. They are your truth. There you go, Elizabeth. So keep tapping. Tap, tap, tap. You can just even sit and tap. It's another way of release. Or tap on your, this is another tapping point here. I also like the butterfly hug. And then you tap gently on your chest. You're crossing the midline, which helps to stay, the brain to stay connected to the emotional brain or the logical brain instead of just retreating into the reptilian brain, right? So tap, tap, tap. Anxiety, right? It's energy. It's energy. It's coming up with some information for us. And for many of us, we've been holding that anxiety energy in the body for a long time. So I say better out than in, better out than in, better out than in. So beautiful. Beautiful. I'm glad that helped. So Wanda shared with us today, she says, the hugest part of my abuse that I secretly carry is the self-destructive behaviors that were in the younger years. My behaviors caused much trauma. It has only been in the last year that I've been working on the shame. It's still something I'm working on these very moments. I hear you, Wanda. I hear you, my friend, right? It often, I can look back on that for myself too, right? How I acted out as a teenager, I acted out as a young woman, right? And often it felt like something happened as if I'm in a trance, like my body or my thoughts would just kind of take me over. And then I would somehow, right, self-sabotage or self-destruct. And I did not always understand it until, right, I would, coming out of that, right, realize, oh my gosh. And that for a while would feed the shame. It's like, see, you are bad, right? Then I would like be affirming the shame and the self-hatred. So be gentle with yourself, Wanda. And the fact that you're here, right, and you're speaking about it and you're working with your therapist with it, it all helps. Once we understand, right, what's happening in our nervous system, in our biology, why it's just compelled to act out until something helps to stop the cycle. And part of stopping the cycle is to find a way to speak it, right? Shame doesn't like to be exposed. Shame doesn't like to be spoken about. Shame doesn't like it when we bring light into it. Exactly, Angel, that's right. The internal dialogue to ourselves is the worst, right? And so for many of us, we kind of pick up where the people around us that were hurting us left off, right? And often we are way worse. We are way harsher, towards ourselves that, we wouldn't let anybody else speak that way to us, but we speak that way to ourselves. So sweet, sweet Wanda, right? Each time that you work on this and understand your body, right? And have compassion for your body, why it did what it did. It was trying to figure out what's going on in here. Why do I feel this way? And now, right, you are becoming the parent and the protector that you needed. You're showing up for your body. You are understanding your mind, learning to safely express the hurt, express the healing, express the outrage in a healthy, productive, and a safe way instead of turning it on yourself, right? This wasn't your fault. This wasn't your fault. And this is like, right, we learned to be this way. You were hardwired to be this way. And now you're learning to be different. Right? And then, yeah, right, there is some grieving involved. Right? We kind of have to grieve. Oh my goodness. Talk about crying, right? How many tears I shed over, right? It's like, I can't believe I hurt myself like that. I can't believe I made those choices for myself, right? It's like, and again, it wasn't about a blame, but it's just to let out the hurt and the grief of a little bit of loss of time, of loss of innocence, of loss of, I didn't know that I didn't know. I didn't know that there was something else I could do about this. I thought I was broken. I thought I was stupid. I thought I was this was it. And, all these raging feelings inside that I didn't understand. That's what was driving us. I believe we're stuck in this loop, this trauma loop, until we find a way to, wait a minute, I've been in this circle before. I've been in this cycle before. What's happening? My biology is just doing what it's hardwired to do, is to protect me, to keep me safe. Exactly, Angel. It is a little bit of a hamster wheel. Right? And you didn't have a choice back then, but you are now learning to see, oh, wait a minute. Interesting. This looks like a habit. This looks like a pattern. I've been down this road before. And that's, also kind of the good news, right? Once we're able to lay down the pattern, the thinking that led to feelings, that led to acting out. It is. And it just, we work on one thing at a time. And like I've told you guys on my bathroom mirror for a long time, I had thoughts lead to feelings, lead to actions, right? Or, behaviors. And then often I was like, well, I feel like crap, or I feel like I can't stop crying, or whatever. So the feeling was, I feel pissed off. I feel resentful. I'm feeling a lot of shame. I wonder what was the thinking before? What was I thinking? What was happening inside of me? And sometimes, these two can be exchanged, the feeling or the thinking, and we can get caught in that loop, is to try to stop that. Okay, wait a minute. What's the thinking? Turning the volume up on the thoughts, like we've done in our mindfulness class, right? Is to really start to turn the volume up, and then to start to hear, right, that inner criticism, the judgments, the assumptions that we make. Right? I'm taking a deep breath for all of us. So, such important work that you're doing, Wanda. And it's like you are setting your body free. When we understand what are the things that make us feel ashamed of our bodies, it's like, that's like the path to freedom. One of the many stepping stones to freedom. It's like, oh, sweet body, it wasn't anything wrong with you. This is just how, bodies work. So, thank you for sharing. Hey, Gulev. Hey, friend. Glad you're here. Our friend from Iceland is here. Good to see you. I'm counting down the weeks until I come to Iceland. We got to meet up again. Little side note. So thank you, Wanda. Yes, Sue. Gulu, did you hear? Sue is coming to Iceland. Wanda, it's a constant struggle to be compassionate to my body. Yes. I hear you, my friend. I understand. It is hard. It is hard. Right? But you are doing it, kicking and screaming, right? And that's what it was like for me with my body. It was like, I hated my body. I hated it. Absolutely. It's like, oh, don't want to look at it. Don't want to feed it. Don't want to take care of it. Avoided it. But it didn't work, right? Because I was like hating on me. I was hating on all of what I represented, basically. If I hate my body, I'm hating me. Yes, kicking and screaming, jumping up and down all the way. All the way. I hear you. I hear you, my friend. Accepting our bodies. There you go, Angel, walking barefoot on warm ground. That's good, right? Grounding, warming, exactly. Our body understands warmth. And our body responds to gentle talk, right? When we put our hand on our hearts and, hey, sweet body, I am so, so sorry. I just did not know how hurt you were, how sad you've been feeling. Awesome, Angel. Right? But I am here for you now. I am here, I am here, I am here. And yes, I know you feel this is a struggle. You can feel it. I'm doing my best to learn to be gentle and kind and to pay attention to you and to accept you and take care of you. Sure, Elizabeth, I can do that. Thank you for that question. So first I'm going to share what Sue posted in the group. And then I would love to hear from other group members that are on the chat here on the YouTube. If you have had fears of starting a relationship after abuse, let's put it out to the community, but I'm happy to address it as well. But Sue shared with us, no, I did not. Thank you, Sue. I will refresh my my browser, and maybe LD's comment will pop up there. So let's see here. Sue says, for me, it is less a secret I was asked to carry and more an underlying belief that I've recently uncovered. Excuse me. And that I've carried for a long time. From very young, I was made to feel like a burden, like a nuisance. And I was convinced that nobody liked me or wanted me. Oh, it breaks my heart, Sue. Whew, right? And I was convinced that nobody liked me or wanted me. I had no friends at school until I was in my teens. And that belief has been reinforced on other occasions during life as well. Even today, there are times I still struggle to believe that anyone would ever be pleased to see me or really want to be with me. Oof. Right? It hurts my heart to know this, Sue, right? I understand, and it makes sense, right? After, knowing your story and your childhood, right? But it hurts to know that you never felt, right? That anyone would be pleased to see you or would really want to be with you. I hear you, Sue. She goes on to say, I do know differently in my head now, but shifting the deep down belief that I've held for so long is proving more difficult. That as I'm gradually learning to accept myself and give myself the care and the nurture that I deserved back then, I trust this will help me to shift that belief and truly believe I am lovable, wanted, and worthy of love. Yes, you are, my friend. And that's it, right? I'm going to reread this too. Like you say here, I'm gradually learning, like you're recognizing that you're starting to feel or think differently about it. But how do we integrate or shift or embody a new belief? You're gradually learning to accept yourself and give yourself the care and nurture and kindness that you deserved back then, right? And you are now, right? Like you in the past believed that anyone would ever be pleased to see you or want to be with you, but you are now choosing to show up for you, choosing to be here for you. You're choosing not to turn away when we have hard feelings or hard thoughts. Recognizing, right, some of it you can hold for yourself, or you need to hold your little girl, your inner child. It's like, hey, baby girl, this is hard. I'm sorry. I'm here now. I'm sorry I didn't come sooner. I didn't know. I didn't know. I'm here now. I'm here now. I am here now. And I am so happy to be here with you and providing the love and the care and the kindness that you needed all along. Yes. No, I'm not going anywhere. I promise. No matter what you say or do, I will never stop loving you. Right, helps to shift the belief that yes, I am lovable. I mean, look at her, right? And I'm interested, and you are worthy of the time, right, to give you love. And this kind of feeds into the answer to the question, Elizabeth, right? That's great, Angel. You have a Care Bear blanket from your grandkids. There you go. There you go. So, my friend Elizabeth, I see you got some feedback from people here while I'm refreshing the browser here. I guess I'm gonna see. There we go. I see it here now. Thanks, LD. If you're watching the replay, I'm sorry I didn't miss that. I mean that I missed it earlier, but I have it now. But I see, Elizabeth, you're getting a little bit of feedback here about talking about fears around. You're welcome. You're welcome, and I'm happy to touch upon it in a little bit. But did that give you some insight? Right? It's hard to trust other people when we don't trust ourselves. Right? It's hard to trust that we will be loved. Okay, thank you, Sue. Thanks, Wanda. Have a good evening. And that's part of it, right? The more we can focus on taking care of us, right? Being lovable and, kind and gentle with us, the more we recognize, what I need, what I want, what are my boundaries, then entering in a relationship with someone else will be easier because you know who you are. You know what you need. And we, learned, and we may practice to ask for what we need. Slowly learning to trust myself. Yes, Elizabeth, I hear you. And I hear you, Angel. I hear you. I absolutely hear you on that. So I'll be right back on that, but I'm going to share LD's comment. LD shared with us the belief that I am inherently bad in the very core of me, that I am flawed and that I'm unworthy of a beautiful life. That one resonates, LD. That used to be a very deep core belief of mine too, that I was inherently bad. LD goes on to share with us, I am so saddened that people put their sick and twisted desires upon me and confuse me from such a young age. I am saddened that it has taken so many years to begin to unravel all of this confusion. I am saddened when I struggle with triggers and difficult memories and think how lovely it would have been to be raised in a home where those issues didn't exist. I look at my T and I feel so blessed that she gets to experience this reality. But I'm thankful that I am unraveling the confusion, and I'm thankful for the people that have been on this journey with me. Although I have been pretty silent lately, I have traveled some pretty treacherous roads with you guys, and I'm so thankful for you, and I still love you so very, very much. Thank you, LD. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And we are thankful for you, and we love you and appreciate you so much. And we know you're here. We know you're here. Absolutely. And I'm so sorry, right? The sadness, like I said earlier, once we become aware, it's so important that we allow those feelings, the hurt, the outrage, right? That was never okay. What many of us were exposed to or had to go through alone, right? Meaning something happened and we were left to handle it, right? On our own. And then those confusing thoughts, right? We came up with stories to make sense of it all. And very often those stories that we came up with, yes, was that there's something wrong with us, that inherently we are wrong or bad. If I just work harder to be a good girl, if I just work harder of getting it right, if I change, if I do it different, if I'm just making sure everybody's happy, if I just work harder, if I'm just perfect enough, right? Woo. So thank you, LD. I'm so glad you're here and sharing it. And right, when we share it, we are letting it go. We're letting go of those crazy thoughts. You're not alone, and it was not your fault. Not then, not now, not ever. Yeah. Yes. So, Elizabeth, you had asked, right, about trusting. And so I am glad that, right, you are seeing right? You're not alone, right? Entering relationships, right? Intimate relationships, when we've been hurt by intimate relationships, when we were hurt by the people that were supposed to teach us about trust, about respect, about boundaries, right? That would honor, right, who we are and honor our no, or we even encourage us to say no, or interested in how we feel and what we like and what we don't like. When we have none of that, it's confusing, it's complicated, right? Where do I end and where do you begin when maybe our boundaries were constantly being broken or violated even? We don't know that we can say no. We don't know we can speak up. We don't know we can ask for what we need. And so it's important work, right, for us to understand, right, and develop a relationships with ourselves, relationship with our bodies, relationships with our emotions, relationships with our inner child. And learning to, right, really care for ourselves is the path, like self-care is the path to self-kindness, self-respect, self-compassion, self-love. Because I think each one of us would rather be in a relationship with someone that brings, that comes to us with love to give. But for many of us, because we are desperately seeking something to fill this empty space, that we often go out and hand our inner child. Will you love me? Will you love me? Will you make me feel safe? Will you accept me unconditionally? But, right? That's not what your inner child wants. Your inner child wants your love, not that person's. So when we do this, we are abandoning ourselves all over again. We're looking for love and approval out here. And we hope to get from other people what we don't know to do for ourselves. So, yes, we do need people, right? But finding a safe place to be around people where there are healthy boundaries, kind and respectful language, supportive and encouraging, not, right, manipulating or, right, passive aggressive or, right. It is interesting. It is interesting. And I believe it's kind of like the same cycle we are in until we find a way to stop it. Wait a minute. Is there possibility here that I'm wanting someone else to love and accept this part of me when it's actually my job to love and accept me? Right? Like our bodies, our hearts, our spirits. So, Elizabeth, but I'm glad you're here, my friend, because we talk a lot about, that responsibility for ourselves. And when we really come to know ourselves, then we can kind of recognize, like, again, where do I end and where do you begin? This is my responsibility. This is your responsibility. So come and hang out with us and you will hear this come up more often than not. And yes, find a way, like Angel, to come back to love, learning to love ourselves. How can we reparent ourselves? Can we become the parent and the protector that we needed? Right? Because ultimately that is what we want. We want to connect with the truth of who we are. And we do that through our own inner work. So thank you so much for asking, Elizabeth. I appreciate that. So appreciate that. So I drew a card today, like always. One day. I hear you, Angel. Good for you. Exactly. That's right. Exactly. Your inner child doesn't want you to hand it over to somebody else to love. It wants your love. It wants you to stand up for your inner child that no one stood up for before and said, no, I got you. I got you. I am here. I'm the grown-up. I'm handling the adult world now. I'm not going to hand you over or ask you to take responsibility for being in the adult world. I'm going to protect you, give you the time and freedom and space to be that little girl. And that those little inner children, they keep bringing us all kinds of fears and all kinds of beliefs that they have about being bad, being broken, not being good enough, having to be perfect, having to take care of everything, having to, all the things, all the stories, all the coping that they did from very, very young age. They've been adulting for a long time. So it takes time. Like any relationship, right? It takes time to build a trust. I see you, I hear you, I feel you. I'm willing to listen. And for many of us, right, to slow down and listen is hard, especially when that listening has to come from within our bodies. I did not want to go and listen to my body for a long time. It was hard. So our card for the day, one day her desire for peace became so great that she became peace. Right? When we embody and know how to hold peace in our hearts, in our heart of hearts, right, Sue? I'd say this is something you experienced or have been expressing a little bit lately, right? Even though there's a lot of grief and a lot of challenging things going on in your life, right? But yet, you have forged a path that even in the midst of a lot of emotions, you can still find peace. Peace and grief together. Yes, Sue, I hear you. Yeah, I hear you, my friend. And, for me, it has been the journey. Like I said, I don't know why, but at some point, and actually there's a few key points on my healing journey now, over 25 years since I started healing myself, that I knew deep in my heart that I was here to learn about love. And I didn't trust it in the beginning. I didn't understand it. I hated the idea of it. I didn't think I was worthy of it, valuable or good enough or all that, right? But now right? Just like in this card, one day her desire for peace became so great she became peace. Like is where I sit and stand in today. I know the truth of who I am today is pure love. And knowing that, and knowing all that I've been through, all the hurt and the pain and the shame and the secrets and the guilt and the sadness, right, Sue? Love and hurt both lived here. And the more I was able to hold myself while letting go of the hurt, the more I fell in love with who I am and who we are as humans. How strong and resilient we are. You're welcome, Elizabeth. And just so you know, I'm open to any questions about my past. Feel free. There's hardly anything that's, off the table. And I always reserve the right to say, no, don't want to answer that question. But for the most part, I don't think I've ever gotten that question. So, but that's it, my friends. I know, like all of you, are inherently good, worthy, and lovable. And you are so loved. So loved. And I say thank you. It is always a privilege when anybody shares their journey, their vulnerability, right, their heart with me, with others. But it's also always an opening for a deeper connection, right? When one of us opens their heart, it's a permission for others, right, to also open up their hearts, right? We're not here to pretend, to put on to be perfect, right? But what are we doing here? We're working on releasing our authentic self, giving ourselves permission to really be and show up the truth of who we are. So with that, my friends, thank you so much. Releasing a few. Thank you, Angel. I hear you. I see you. You're welcome. Thank you too, Sue. I hope you find a way to cool off this evening. Whew. That is very warm where you are. But thank you, sweet, sweet friends. I will see you back here Tuesday next week, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You have a fan. Awesome. And put a wet towel on your face or something. Even if it's just a little towel over the top of your head, that can help you to cool off a little bit. So to all of you, stay cool. Be gentle with yourselves. And I look forward to seeing you guys next week. Until then, have a beautiful weekend. Take care, friends. You're very welcome. See you next time. Thank you. You too.